Is this working okay? Seems to be, I guess. So, it's not even 8 o'clock and I'm covered in ink because that's what happens in my house. So, I've had some pens sitting here on my desk to repair or find a part for or whatever, and I'm finally going to do that today. Get them out of my house, so I have to say goodbye to them. So, this young man bought a Skyline from me that he saw me drawing with, writing with, playing with on the big screen here, and he wanted that pen. So I sent him that pen, and he decided that the nib was a little too fat on the thin stroke. He didn't really take advantage of the flexibility that the nib had, so he wanted to know if I would trade the nib. So I found this nib, which he said desired line width, doesn't have to be exact, thank you so much, etc. So this is the nib I found for him. He sent me the nib in this little protective case, in this little protective envelope. So I will probably put them all back in those things and send them back to him. And hopefully this nib will do the trick for him. Someone's watching me from Cornwall, England. Hello, Juicy Louise. There's a hamburger that is made in Wisconsin called the Juicy Lucy, which it's how it is created. Here's your hamburger bun, and inside of this hamburger bun are chopped up onions and cheese. Then they cook it. So you bite into this big hamburger bun and their juices flow everywhere. So anyway, I think that this nib is the one that Thomas will get. So let me take it out of my little pen here. Maybe throw this one in here. This wasn't the one that he sent me. I don't know where that nib is. The one that I originally sent him has now been put somewhere else. But anyway, so this nib is going to him. So that one's done. More ink. This Skyline was sent to me well, this was not sent to me. This is what he wanted. And Friedrich sent me all of my package has arrived. He sent me all of these parts, thinking that I would use these parts in partial payment for this. What he essentially needed was this cap. In fact, I don't even know no, he does need the whole pen, come to think of it. So he's going to get this pen. Now, he will also have to give me a little bit of money extra, whether he knows this or not. He'll understand it because I really don't need any of these parts. I've got a steamer trunk full of these things, so it's not like I'll tell him I can send those parts back. He probably needs them more than I do. So anyway, that pen is going to him. This pen, he loves pens that are yellow, and so he has this Howard, what's it called, Thomas? Where's my loop? Took me forever to find this thing today, till I remembered I put it in a particular spot. It's a Thompson pen. Why did I think it was a Howard pen? I know a Howard Thompson. Maybe that's what So he wants a number 4 size nib to go in this pen. So let me see if I can find. India ink is fine for sketching if you don't use a fountain pen. Okay, so this moves. This is pretty loosey-goosey. It's tight, but there's room for a number 4 nib to go in there. So let's number 4 warranted nib. There we go. There's some number 4 warranted. Well, that one just says 14K. That's way too loose. That's way too loose. I don't know if we want 4 here, mister. We might want a number 5 nib. That's a number 2. Fitting nibs. Writering. This is a number 5, Friedrich. Even that swims in this thing. You know, my fear, or not so much fear, I bet my thought is that this pen originally had a steel nib in it, because steel nibs are fatter, thicker. The metal is thicker, and it wouldn't swim as much. I mean, these all just fall out. There's not enough. Let me draw you. Well, he knows what I'm saying, but other people may not know what I'm saying. So here's the hole in the section, or there's the section, cross section of the section. Here's the hole for the feed. Now a cross section of the nib would look like that. And a gold nib, let's say, is that thick. A steel nib, though, is thicker. That thick. Maybe twice as thick, maybe. So the gap that's in this feed, in this hole, would hold a, I bet even if I found a number 6 nib. Here's a Waterman number 5. Even that's fat. I mean, even that's, the hell is this? This is a Waterman emblem pen. Even this, which is like a number 6, is loosey-goosey in here. I can shove it further back, it'll stay put, but this had a steel nib. I'm just going to say that out loud to Friedrich. So we can talk about this. I may not send your pens out today because we have to talk. So let me put these back. I wonder if somewhere I have a big pile of steel nibs. Anyway, Friedrich, we'll talk. I'll send you a text in a minute. pair of pens I need to send out today are I know what half of them are going to look like. Here's half right here. This is for an old, I don't want to say school chum of mine. We shared one class in grad school, and the Venn diagram that we shared, I don't think had more than that one little thing. But he is an animator making a living, or maybe he's retired now, making animations for Disney and other folks, including The Simpsons cartoon lives in California. So he ran across one of my videos and remembered me from our youth. And he wanted a nice rubbery Skyline nib, which is this. And then he wanted another one that was another Skyline or another pen. Doesn't have to be a Skyline, that has a finer nib for maybe doing background stuff. So I think I might send him this one. And it's not a Skyline, it's a Waterman, but he'd be easy. He could see easily from across the room what pen he's using, rather than, oh, I've got two Skylines, which one is this, which one is that. So I may send him this pen, and but I have to I'll send him an email showing the two pens and the two lines that they make, so that he knows what he's going to get. And in his case, and with many people who are buying pens from me through the mail, I'll say, if you're not happy with them, let me know what you would prefer, because I don't want to have a pen that you buy from me sitting doing nothing, unless you're a pen collector. If you're a pen collector, you can do whatever you want with your pen. See, this is another great one. This is another, maybe this will be the other one rather than the one I just showed you. A little Schaefer pen that has, it's also a good one to sketch with. Maybe this is what he'll get instead. It has a nice, smooth, but fine nib, and has a little bit of give from that to this. And I think that might be a nice pairing. And they'd be both basic black. They'd make a nice little ensemble in his pocket when he goes in to the Oscars or Emmys or whatever they get in TV or movies. A friend of mine in Boston, a client, I guess, or he's hired me to do work for him. He got what do they give for music? A Tony? Or was it an Oscar? Did he get an Oscar? Was it? I think it might have been a documentary. No, I think it was for music. Anyway, he got whatever their award was, whatever they give out for a Grammy. Is that what they get? A Grammy. He got a Grammy for being a graphic designer. He did the cover, the record cover, and the dust jacket, or whatever they have, CDs have, for a compilation of songs by Woody Guthrie, I believe it was. And so he has on his mantelpiece a Grammy. So this guy, for whatever it is, that specialty he does for The Simpsons, he can display his pens next to his Emmy or Grammy or Oscar. Okay, must go feed the working man his lunch. Well, either you work with him, or he works from home, or he's unemployed. comes home for lunch. So I'll say goodbye to these pens. These are going to go off to California. That nib will go off to, where did it go? There it is. This nib will go off to Tennessee, I think. Yep, Cleveland, Tennessee. And I do have a friend of mine that I met a year ago. Well, actually, I met him before then, but anyway, I re-met him a year ago when he was in California. And he was visiting artist at the Tom of Finland Foundation. Tom of Finland, if you don't know who he is a pioneer of erotic gay art, sort of the gay version of Vargas. And so he was a fellow, an artist in residence for 3 months, and I visited him. And one of his friends in California had given him one of these, a small number 2 sized ladies or ring top wall Eversharp. And in trying to make it work, he broke the feed. So I have to find a feed for him. And you would think that would be easy because I have drawers full of these things. But each feed is a little different. They're not all the same. They might belong to the same company. They might be the same size pen, but some of them are a little bit fatter. And you can't just easily switch them. So I thought I would send him 2 feeds, and hopefully one of them would work, but I don't know if I have 2 I can send him. I thought I wanted to send him 2, and I thought I would be able to find 2, but he's antsy. So, and he's been asking me for this for roughly a year. Excuse me. And I don't know how long I've had this yellow pen. A year, probably. So I have to get my act together and have a list, and I have to put on that list of to-do list, fix and send pens back, and not be able to have my dinner until I do that. But I'm always distracted, quite often distracted, or I think I have a part and I don't have a part, and then I'm lost. So that's my issue. I'm also thinking of, I sent an email out to a fellow pen reviewer, pen lover, YouTube channel person who does many reviews of mainly modern pens. And as with many reviewers of modern pens, they spend a lot of the time speaking of from the point to here. They talk about this rather than that, the line they make. And I thought that, and as many of you know, I think modern fountain pens, it's like if you go to a clothing store in 1912, the clothing person would get out his measuring tape and he would measure your neck and your sleeve and your inseam, and put your foot in a Burdick device, and you would discover what shirt size you were and what shoes you wear, and you would then, if you were lucky and were of a certain tax bracket, I guess, or income, you could then say, I want this fabric made into that shirt, and I want to have 6 different collars, detachable collars, to go with that shirt. And you know, a little bit later you'd get a message sent to you in a postcard or something saying, sir, your bespoke shirt and assorted collars are ready for your pickup. Well, now you go to a store and you might have small, medium, large, extra large, extra, extra, extra large. Oops, I forgot the extra large. And these are what sell, because we're all fat and we don't care what we look like. And you can't, you know, buy a shirt that has a 15.5-inch collar, because they don't care anymore. So that's what the nibs are like. Nibs come small, large, medium, large, extra, extra, extra large. And they're not flexible, or rarely flexible. So I thought I would select a bunch of black pens. That way this part of the pen is not going to be talked about. I mean, I could, you know, 2 of the pens might be 2 that look like this. You know, you can talk about how beautiful this black one is and how beautiful this black one is, but that's not why I'm loaning him these pens. So I'm going to send him 5 or 10 pens. I don't really know. And I would love to have him show his readership, his watchership, his audience, how different these nibs are going to be, because they're not going to be these. They're going to be these plus this stuff here that's missing, plus this stuff here that's missing. It's like, this is the visible light ray, you know, this is what we see, but we've got, you know, radio waves, and we have ultraviolet, and we've got all the other things that other animals and can hear and see with their different kind of eyes. I just would like to have him see the difference that one got in a pen that was made before 1940, and especially in a pen that was made before 2000. And he may not like any of these. He's not a calligrapher. He does like to sketch, he says. He does from time to time. But I just think that it'll be interesting to see his reactions to using to trying out a pen that has an excruciatingly fine nib. He, like many people, might say, oh gee, this is too scratchy. Well, write with it for 3 more minutes and you'll get the scratchiness will become unimportant. It's like, you know, eat those handmade mashed potatoes with the lumps in it for another minute. And if you need to try the mashed potatoes that came out of a box over there to remind you what the difference is between the lumpy mashed potatoes and the kind that come out of a box, you can. But I think though there's a point at which, I'm not saying that he won't immediately see the beauty of the fine nib or extra fine nib, but the last show I was at, which was Philadelphia, I helped a few people try to find pens that they were looking for. And the people were folks that used only new modern pens. And one of the guys wanted a pen that was really, really fine. So I let him try one of mine that I brought to draw with. I didn't bring to sell. So I didn't sell it to him, but I said, well, here's a pen that's really, really fine. And he could not believe how fine it was. The other thing he couldn't believe was how lightweight the pen was. It was this pen without the sterling overlay. It was a Waterman 12. This isn't a Waterman. It looked like this, except it was smaller, a little thinner. But this was so lightweight compared to his big clunky, whatever modern pen he had, which has metal. Most modern pens are metal, brass or something, and then they're covered with a lacquer or shellac or paint or repoussé work or cloisonné work or whatever they add on top of it. So it's quite a bit heavier than you. And they say, "Oh my God, this is so light," and they initially sort of want to not even try it out because it's too light. And I said, "Okay, just have another swig of your beer, and we'll try this again. Ignore the lightness. Just make a line with it. Forget about what it looks like. Forget about how lightweight it is, and they're amazed at how these things work. So that's what I'm hoping that this guy will. I'm sure he's used old vintage pens before. So none of what I'm going to be sending him will be new to him, but I'm going to ask him if he would try to maybe just use the vintage pens I sent him for the week or two that however long he can stand staying away from what he's used to. And it's tough doing that. It's very difficult for me to learn a new trick and to try something new. Because it's never what I expect. I always have to recalibrate my brain if I'm using a new tool. But I think he will enjoy the exercise or the experience that I'm hoping he'll agree to. We'll see. I don't see any downside to what I'm going to offer. Yes, I do see a downside. There are many people who, once they try a vintage pen, won't even look at a modern pen anymore. They realize that what they want a pen to do cannot be done by a modern pen. It can only be done by a nib that was made from 1900 to 1940. But those people are, for the most part, calligraphers or drawers. So they want the nib automatically to do a little bit more than someone who, I'm going to use the word only, and I don't mean it that way, only writes with it. Often when I am going to use a pen only to write with, meaning only to take notes at a meeting or use what I call my brain to come up with a thoughtful word, I often will choose a nib that is very stiff and very boring so that I'm not distracted by what this word that I'm going to choose looks like when it's written out. It's more about what it means. If I chose to write a sentence only using words that I like the look of, or letters that I like the look of, I would never have a word that has a C in it. I just hate, and maybe even an S. I don't like how S's look. Almost every word I'd write would be an adjective that would end in an ly, because I love the way that looks. tion. Words that end in that ing are good. Would I like to write the word minimum? minimum. It looks like a seismograph. That's what San Francisco is like on a normal day. I like the ones that, where you've got the Richter scale doing a little bit more, having a little bit more fun. But when I'm trying to make my brain come up with a word, of all the words in the dictionary, I'm trying to find the right one to use in the sentence. And I'll pick a pen that does not allow any sort of fun. And there are writers out there who are crafting their words to mean something, and they're very good at it. And maybe they're not distracted by a flexible nib or a fancy looking barrel. Maybe they just are so focused on what they want to write that they don't care what, they're not distracted by this. So good for them. I wish I had that ability. When I draw, I think I'm focused when I'm drawing things, that I can use this pen to draw with, and I'm not paying attention to the overlay. I'm just drawing. But I don't know, maybe not. Let's say I had a beautiful Bugatti car, and let's say I needed to buy some milk at the grocery store. I might want to go to the grocery store in order to drive that car, and I'd buy one thing at a time and keep going back. Oh, I need butter. Why didn't I get both of them? Well, now I get to drive my car again. I don't know where I'm going with this comment. See, this is where I'm distracted by pretty things. There's nothing wrong with wanting a beautiful thing to buy milk. Especially if, I personally, one of the things that makes me feel a lot better every day, putting my sleeves, my arms, into a freshly, heavily starched dress shirt. The hand going through the through the sleeve that's stuck together by starch. You slide it through, you feel like you're the Stockholm, and the shirt is the Andrea Doria. You're just sliding that icebreaker bow through that. You hear the crack of the ice as you're going through the ice field, and you put that shirt on, you button it up, and slouching doesn't happen for at least 10 minutes before I forget I have that shirt on, and then I can slouch. There's something about wearing that shirt, though, wearing a starched shirt, that makes me feel clean and tidy and productive all day long. And it also looks nice, just like this pen looks nice. But if I was using this pen that doesn't look so nice, it's all scratched up and dinged, it doesn't have a very flexible nib. If this is what I have in my hand, and my intent is to come up with a sentence, I trust myself, this will come up with a better sentence than this one. My brain is too distracted by that. This is the one that'll do the trick. Okay, I wasted 36.5 minutes of your life with my meanderings. I think that's enough. Be good, everyone.